Here are 5 Simpsons episodes with a remarkably deeper meaning. Starting with the episode Barthood from season 27. The episode begins with Homer lying on the grass with a 6-year-old Bart. As he starts asking innocent questions about nature, Homer quickly shifts the conversation, accusing Bart of leaving toy cars on the stairs, which causes Homer several injuries. To diffuse the tension, the family decides to drop Bart off at Grandpa Abe's house so he can stay away from Homer for a while. At Grandpa's house, Bart's fascination with toy cars leads Grandpa to recall an old car he bought back in 1954 and completely forgot about. Bart gets excited and asks to sit in it.
Can I sit in it?
But Grandpa surprises him by offering to let him drive it. The story then jumps ahead 2 years, with Bart still driving Grandpa's car, but he's running late for a reading class. While in the class, Bart struggles, despite Professor Jonathan Frink's efforts to teach him, while Lisa, 2 years younger, reads fluently. Later, Lisa paints a beautiful boat scene, which Marge proudly decides to hang above the couch. Bart, not wanting to be outdone, reveals he painted the entire kitchen. This was too much, Bart. However, this leaves Homer repainting the walls and furniture to fix the mess. In another attempt to impress Lisa, Bart drives Homer's car, which ends up creating another mess as he crashes it through the kitchen wall, narrowly missing Homer. Concerned about Bart's behavior, Homer and Marge visit a psychologist who explains that Bart acts out because he feels neglected by Homer. The psychologist suggests father-son bonding, like camping and other stuff. However, Homer takes Bart to a comfy inn instead, where he spends the time lounging in bed and watching sports, leaving Bart disappointed. Returning home, Bart discovers that Lisa has already earned a Student of the Month award at Springfield Elementary, despite being there for only a month. In contrast, Bart, who has been at the school for 2 years, hasn't received any recognition. Homer tries to make Bart feel better by claiming he loves both him and Lisa equally, 40% each. Feeling down, Bart makes bumper stickers for Homer's car to win his heart. But Homer dismisses the effort, saying there's no room left on the bumper for more stickers for Bart. The episode jumps to Bart's 12th birthday, where the spotlight is stolen by Lisa's announcement that she's been named Student of the Month for the 48th consecutive time at Springfield Elementary. Bart grows furious that Lisa overshadows him even on his special day. In a fit of anger, he changes the name on the cake to Lisa and leaves to skateboard with Milhouse. Their rebellious streak leads them to vandalize street lamps. But while Milhouse gets arrested and sent to juvenile hall, Bart manages to escape and hide at the retirement home. There, Grandpa gives him a BMX bike. Fast forward to 3 years, Bart has mastered BMX stunts. And during this time, Marge and Lisa head to camp, leaving Homer and Bart alone. Marge expresses hope that this could be Homer's chance to bond with Bart.
Homer, this summer may be your last chance to have a close relationship with your son.
But their interaction is brief, as Homer abandons him once again. Feeling neglected, Bart throws a wild party at home, where he finds Homer and Chief Wiggum high on the pot. Later, Homer confesses to Bart that he was once just like him, but the responsibility of Bart's birth forced him to grow up. They share a brief heartfelt moment before Homer unintentionally ruins the moment by admitting that he doesn't have any plans to change. Bart, seeking validation, visits Grandpa's grave and decides to compete in a BMX event where he believes Lisa can overshadow him. However, during a stunt, he's distracted by Lisa's shadow, causing him to crash hard and black out. He regains consciousness only to discover that Lisa saved his life and, well, she also has been hailed as a hero, deepening his frustration once more. Determined to distance himself from Lisa, Bart starts doing caricatures of the port. However, one day, he's invited to Milhouse's graduation party, which he hesitates to attend since Lisa is in the same class. But he eventually decides to go. After all, who doesn't like free beer, right? At the party, Milhouse's parents cause a scene by fighting in front of everyone. Lisa cheers Milhouse up by complimenting him and giving him a kiss, prompting Milhouse to declare her the best part of the party. Bart, on the other hand, grows angrier, feeling constantly overshadowed. But Lisa confronts him, telling him to stop blaming her for all his problems. And, well, she reminds him that he has real talent as an artist, but he never utilizes it. Surprisingly, Bart takes her words to heart. 2 years later, Bart opens a bike customization shop where he's visited by Nelson, who just wants to return all the lunch money he stole over the years and hand him $5,000. Bart is shocked, not because of Nelson's generosity, but because he discovers that Lisa and Nelson are dating again. During their visit, Bart unveils a massive mural depicting key moments of his life, none of which feature Lisa. When Lisa points this out, Bart surprises her by revealing a hidden mural in her honor, showcasing her as one of his favorite sisters. The episode ends with Nelson realizing that Bart is the infamous graffiti artist El Bardo. Moving on, we have One Fish, Two Fish, Blowfish, Bluefish from Season 2. It's Meatloaf Night, and Homer is eagerly anticipating his favorite meal. Lisa, however, is growing tired of the family's repetitive food choices and suggests they try something different. After some discussion, they decide that on Friday night, they'll go out to eat. They ask Lisa where she'd like to go, and she responds with a desire for somewhere that doesn't serve burgers, pizza, or fried chicken. Marge, however, suggests they try the new sushi bar in town, the Happy Sumo. Homer is initially hesitant, but after Lisa's continuous insisting, he agrees to give it a shot. The family gets great seating at the restaurant and eagerly starts to sample the menu. Bart and Lisa even check out the karaoke bar, singing along to the theme from Shaft. Everyone seems to enjoy the experience, from the ambience to the food, until Homer decides to try something bold. He orders sushi made from fugu, the highly poisonous Japanese blowfish. As he places his order, the waiter, Akira, attempts to give him a minor warning, but Homer impatiently shoots him away, eager.
Come on, pal, fugu me!
Well, forget about this ass, and let me tell you about this dish. The fugu, if not cut and prepared properly, contains lethal poison. However, fortunately, one of the trainees, realizing this, quickly fetches the master chef. But he is busy having sex with Edna Krabappel, yes, the 4th grade teacher at Springfield Elementary School, and he totally dismisses the trainee, telling him to leave him alone. With no other choice, the trainee attempts to slice the fugu himself, but Homer's impatience disrupts the careful process. He starts yelling, urging him to serve it faster. The dish is served quickly and sloppily, but Homer doesn't seem to notice any issue as he eats it immediately. Finally, the master chef returns to the kitchen and, upon inspecting the dish, realizes the fugu was not properly prepared. He informs Homer that he may have been accidentally poisoned, as the fish could have lethal consequences if not cut correctly.
Mr. Simpson, son, I shall be blunt. We have reason to believe you have eaten poison.
Poison?
Concerned, Homer and Marge quickly head to the hospital, and Dr. Hibbert, after listening to Marge and the chef's explanations, confirms that Homer was very likely poisoned by the blowfish and could have just 24 hours left to live. That night, as Marge sits by his bedside with tears in her eyes, Homer makes a tough decision. He doesn't want to tell his kids the bad news. Instead, he starts making a list of all the things he wants to do before he passes away. Things he's always dreamed of, from skydiving to eating even more sushi. With Marge beside him, they spend their last few hours together quietly, cherishing the moments they have left. Homer wakes up late, even on his last day, rushing to complete everything on his bucket list. First, he has a heart-to-heart conversation with Bart, listens to Lisa play her saxophone, and even borrows Flanders' camcorder to record a special message for Maggie, something she can watch when she grows older. Now, this is getting emotional, guys. However, Homer quickly realizes that his list is more ambitious than he anticipated, as he spends far more time than expected reconciling with his father, a moment that takes up much of his day. In his attempt to make up for lost time, Homer gets pulled over and arrested for speeding. He calls Barney, who agrees to pay his $50 bail. Leaving the jail, Homer has one last confrontation with Mr. Burns, where he tells off his old boss before heading to Moe's Tavern for a final drink with his friends. He ends up missing dinner with his waiting family. As he hurries home, he manages to say a quick goodbye to the kids and share a tender moment with Marge. As midnight approaches, Homer quietly sneaks out of bed, visiting each family member while they are asleep, offering a silent farewell. Feeling down, he goes to the living room where he listens to a tape of Larry King reading the Bible. The tape plays through until, suddenly, his head drops indicating he may have succumbed to the poison. Marge wakes up the next morning and, upon noticing Homer is missing, panics. She rushes downstairs, finding him collapsed in the armchair. Overcome with grief, she realizes his drool is still warm, meaning he must be alive. She shakes him awake and he wakes up. Homer is alive, now fully awake, running around the house, thrilled to be alive and promising to live life to its fullest. The episode concludes with Homer, content and happy, watching a bowling tournament on TV, happily munching on pork rinds. Next, we have Bart Gets an F, yes, another Bart episode. When Bart stands up to present his book report on Treasure Island at school, it's totally clear that he hasn't read it. He comments only on the cover. When Mrs. Krabappel asks him to name the main pirate, Bart draws a blank. Frustrated, she warns him that his grades have been declined since the start of the term, and there's an exam on colonial America the next day. Bart, careless as always, doesn't take it seriously, procrastinating until late at night, and he eventually falls asleep over his textbooks. When Bart wakes up the next morning, he's panicked, worried that he'll fail the test. On his way to school, he turns to his classmates, Sherry and Terry, for help, but they feed him false answers in hopes that he'll fail. Martin, however, sees through their plan and warns Bart about the misleading information. Right before the test, Bart decides to collapse to get out of it. The school nurse diagnoses him with phlebitis, a loss of vision kind of thing, and sends him home. Back at home, Bart procrastinates once again and calls Milhouse to copy his answers for the test. When he finally takes the exam, Mrs. Krabappel tells him he did worse than Milhouse. Homer and Marge soon have a meeting with Mrs. Krabappel and the school counselor, Dr. J, Lauren Pryor, who sees Bart as an underachiever and warns that Bart could be held back if he doesn't improve. Bart, however, is strongly against this, insisting that he could pass 4th grade. But Homer replies that he may have to repeat the 4th grade as warned. Since Bart is worried about possibly failing, he asks Martin for help. Martin helps Bart with his studying, and Bart shows Martin how to be cool like him, which leads Martin to pick up some of Bart's bad habits. However, when Bart reminds the new Martin about the test the next day, Martin doesn't take it seriously, and now Bart has to study on his own. He prays to God for something to happen, so he doesn't have to go to school, and well, it seems God listened, because at night it snows, and school is canceled the next morning. Bart happily rushes outside to play in the snow. When Lisa reminds him about his commitment, Bart decides to study while everyone else is having fun. But again, he gets distracted. He imagines himself at the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and he pictures it snowing in July. The signers go outside to play, and Bart gets frustrated, slapping himself in the face to try and focus. The next day, Bart finishes the test and immediately rushes to Mrs. Krabappel, eager to see his score. She hands it back, and to his dismay, he sees the grade 59, another failing mark. Completely devastated after putting in more effort this time, Bart breaks down in tears. Mrs. Krabappel, however, is surprised because it's always been normal for Bart to fail. Bart tells her that he really tried this time.
No, you don't understand. I really tried this time.
Yet still came up short. As she attempts to console him, Bart complains that now he understands how George Washington felt when he surrendered Fort Necessity to the French in 1754. Impressed by Bart's knowledge of such an obscure historical event, Krabappel decides to give him an extra point, bumping his grade up to 60, AD-. Bart, overjoyed, kisses his teacher and runs through Springfield, shouting about passing. Realizing what he did, Bart spits in disgust. At home, Homer proudly hangs the test on the fridge, and Bart, grinning, declares part of this D- belongs to God. Next, it is Grift of the Magi from the 11th season. The episode starts showing that the hole in the ozone layer has landed over Springfield and everyone must stay inside. But Milhouse, who was outside at the time, quickly takes cover at the Simpsons' house. But both Milhouse and Bart get bored, and Milhouse somehow convinces Bart to dress up as a girl, and the two of them start jumping on their parents' bed. Typical child activities, you know? However, when Homer knocks on the door, Bart panics, trips, falls onto Homer's bowling ball, and ends up breaking one of the bones in his lower back. Bart is taken to the hospital. where Dr. Hibbert informs Homer and Marge that Bart has cracked his coccyx, a small, triangular bone at the base of our spine, and he'll need to wear a cast on his backside and use a wheelchair for the time being. The next day at school, Bart and Lisa notices there are no ramps for disabled students. And Fat Tony, along with his construction company, is hired to build the necessary ramps. However, instead of actual ramps, they build too many of them made from paint, breadsticks, and shellac, which soon crumble. Fat Tony informs Principal Skinner that Springfield Elementary will need to pay $200,000 to fix the mess. In response, Principal Skinner decides to close the school. Bro is straight to the point. Later, Jim Hope, the president of Kid First Industries, buys the school and privatizes it. The new staff at this privatized school focuses entirely on teaching toy design and marketing, leaving out actual education. Better for Bart, I guess. However, Lisa becomes suspicious when her class is asked to name a new toy that they will sell for Christmas. Unlike the other students, Lisa wants to focus on real schoolwork, and she ends up getting detention for spending too much time solving math problems. While in detention, Bart visits Lisa, gloating that he's now the straightest student and she's a troublemaker. When Bart leaves and turns off the classroom lights, Lisa notices a light shining through the blackboard. Curious, she investigates and soon discovers that the school is being used by a toy company to exploit the children. Hidden cameras, tape recordings, and clear two-way blackboards are being used to gather research. Lisa alerts her parents and Chief Wiggum to investigate. However, everyone just brushes it off, thinking Lisa is crazy.
Is this gonna be like one of those horror movies where we open the door and everything's normal and we think you're crazy, but then there really is a killer robot?
They find Homer stuck on a weather vane. They also notice that the spying room has been taken down and replaced, but they still don't believe Lisa's story. Later, the new toy is named Funzo, a name Lisa had sarcastically suggested during class when she was caught doing math instead of participating. However, Bart and Lisa grow suspicious and decide to visit the Kid First Industries headquarters. However, they're stopped by Gary Coleman, now working as a security guard, whose mental state seems unstable. Despite this, Bart and Lisa sneak past him and make it to Jim Hope's office. There, Jim gives them a free Funzo toy as a goodwill gesture. At home, Bart and Lisa initially have fun with Funzo, but they soon discover the toy's dark side. It's programmed to destroy other toys, ensuring Kid First Industries dominates the market. Alarmed, Lisa spreads the news and urges Springfield residents to boycott Funzo. On Christmas Eve, Homer takes action by collecting all the Funzo toys he can find and burning them at the Springfield tire yard. Gary Coleman appears, trying to stop Homer, but their heated argument shifts into a heartfelt discussion about the true spirit of Christmas. Touched by the conversation, Homer invites Coleman to join the Simpsons for Christmas dinner. Later that evening, Mr. Burns visits the Simpsons house, inspired by 3 Christmas ghosts to have a change of heart. Taking a page from A Christmas Carol, he promises to donate money to reopen Springfield Elementary. Moe also arrives, having reconsidered suicide after imagining a world without him. He brings a cooked goose and lightens the mood with a joke about banging up a Jeep in the driveway, referencing It's a Wonderful Life. The scene ends with a burst of laughter as Gary Coleman delivers his iconic line, "What are you talking about, Moe?" Followed by, "What are you talking about, everyone?" This episode touches on common criticisms of the public school system in the US, like how schools often fail to nurture creativity or unique talents and focus on teaching things that might not be useful in real life. The show addresses these issues by having a toy company take over Springfield Elementary, offering a humorous take on these criticisms. At last, we have Radioactive Man. Bart and Milhouse are thrilled when they hear a movie adaptation of their favorite comic book. Radioactive Man is in the works. Rainier Wolfcastle is cast as the hero, and the production moves to Springfield after a hilariously misspelled ad in Variety magazine catches their attention. The excitement intensifies as auditions for the sidekick, Fall Out Boy, begin. Bart eagerly tries out, performing well, but he's rejected for being an inch short. Determined to fix this, Bart tries everything from stretching exercises to platform shoes. Despite his efforts, the role goes to Milhouse, who only agrees after being pressured by his parents. Milhouse's parents quickly start spending on expensive things, enjoying the benefits of his sudden fame. Meanwhile, Bart stands by Milhouse and handles his own disappointment surprisingly well. However, Milhouse quickly grows disillusioned with acting, overwhelmed by the long hours, endless reshoots, and the constant stress. During the filming of the movie's most expensive scene, a spectacular explosion, Milhouse goes missing, causing chaos in the production. Every attempt to continue without him fails badly, leaving the crew stuck. Bart eventually finds Milhouse hiding in their treehouse. Milhouse vents about the pressures of fame, arguing that real heroes are the ones working to solve world problems like heart disease and hunger. Bart, always with sarcasm, points out that those efforts often don't succeed, while movies at least offer heroes who save the day on screen. Even a pep talk from former child star Mickey Rooney can't change Milhouse's mind, and he decides to quit acting for good. In desperation, Mickey Rooney offers to play Fall Out Boy himself, but the production unravels entirely. Springfield's greed becomes the final nail in the coffin, with Mayor Quimby imposing new taxes and the townspeople price gouging the filmmakers for every service. Broke and frustrated, the directors abandon the project and head back to Hollywood, muttering that people there treat each other right. Mickey Rooney scolds the town for its selfishness, but the residents refuse to refund any of the money they extorted, unapologetic as ever. This episode shows how fame can affect a person's personality. Bart dreams of nothing more than becoming a Hollywood actor, while Milhouse would give anything to go back to being an average kid. Well, that's it, my friends. See you in the next video.